Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you are tuning in. It is I, Tim, the brand weaver, and this is Branding for Breweries, where we have a good old chinwag with some awesome people in the brewing industry about how we can help your breweries grow, thrive, and survive. And I almost couldn't work out the word that rhymed with thrive. Luckily, I got to survive, but now I'm oversharing already. Today, ladies and gents, and anyone who's listening, I am joined by the awesome Sarah Sinclair from Sellar. Now, if you don't know who Sellar are, they are, of course, one of the big dogs in the beer distribution industry. So I'm going to be picking Sarah's brains about how you wonderful brewery folk can make the most of their platform and platforms like it. So without much further ado, everyone, welcome to the stage, Sarah. Crowd goes wild. How are you doing, bud?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I am super funky fresh on this Wednesday afternoon.
Amazing.
Thank you very much for asking. Okay, so let's get stuck in. Sarah, for those people who may not be familiar with Sellar, because we've got people who listen all over the globe, could you give us a little bit of background, of course, not only about Sellar, but about yourself? Tell us about you.
Yeah. So I've worked in pubs and breweries probably since 2014, if you count from the day I pulled the first pint. So over a decade now. And the previous 8 years I've spent specializing in doing marketing for independent breweries, pubs, bottle shops, you name it. That was me. I was freelance. And then 3.5 years of that, I was the marketing manager for Moonwaker Beer Co., which is a brewery up in Edinburgh. And I was the first employee there. So I got to try a lot of different hats. So, dabbled in a lot of different things across the brewery. And yeah, then Sellar. So I started there in June. So over 6, 7, 8 months now. And Sellar is a fast-growing tech company in the UK that it's like software as a service, right? That's what we provide. It's a web platform that allows breweries sort of sell their beer and venues to buy beer. But we've now extended into other categories as well, like cider. We got our first winery and we've got a couple of distilleries on there as well. So that's a nutshell.
In a nutshell, which is beautiful. So you're kind of like the connecting mechanism between trade and the drinks creator, right? Where they all go together and go, here's our product. And then the trade person goes, I like the look of that product. I will buy that product.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Well, I just have to try and clarify and make sure we're all on the same boat for sure.
Yeah. It's one of those things, like trying to describe it in a nutshell is the hardest part because we do so much.
But, so what are the numbers for Sellar? Like how many trades have you got who use Sellar right now? How many different breweries and bits and bobs, roughly?
So we've got like over 250 suppliers, and we started off with like just one. So, we were established in 2020 and our founders they'd built apps before, but sort of like as a side hustle, time rich, cash poor, young people. And they met a brewery, made friends with a brewery in their co-working space in Brighton. And they discovered that craft breweries were doing all their ordering through emails and phone calls and spreadsheets and PDFs, and they were just like, this is like, to them that was just mad. And that brewery described it as being like archaic and abolic. So like, right, well, let's take feedback from the craft breweries, and them knowing nothing about the industry meant that they could come in with like completely fresh eyes and be like, but why does it work that way? Have you ever thought about doing this? So they basically built it over time and completely based on user feedback.
Wow. So around 250 suppliers. So you've got a lot of brands under the Sellar name now.
Yeah.
So hopefully during that time you would have been able to see, like, understand what makes the perfect partnership between obviously the creator, the brand, and seller. And I think that's a really important thing that I want to dive into quite quickly.
Mm-hmm.
There must be a lot of breweries who just assume, well, it's on Sellar now, job done, and people will find me and people will buy our drink. But I'm guessing that's not the case, right?
I'm afraid we are not a magic wand, but we provide. So I would say, like, Sellar is like a way of working, is how I tend to describe it. It's like it puts all these tools at your disposal. But I do think one of the biggest mistakes that people can make is like thinking it's a magic wand, and you still need to prospect, you still need to provide great customer service to get lifetime value. And yeah, but also we're here, like the team are here to help you, and there's like an onboarding process where we're with you the entire step of the way. And even now, like, I'll respond to emails of people being like, oh, how can I make my storefront look better? What am I missing? And I'll just sort of comb through and probably give them the longest email they're ever going to get in their life of advice to help.
I mean, it's what people need there, and that's the constant conversation about standing out. So maybe even before like someone gets onto the Sellar platform, do you take any craft breweries on, or is there like a vetting process? Are you looking for particular bits and bobs that you need from breweries before they join the platform?
So we do. So we've got 2 account managers. So you'll get one of them, Brad and Ali, and they've both got extensive experience like working for breweries as well. And they will talk to you and be like, is Sellar the right fit for you? Because the idea is like, Sellar, you're selling direct to that business. So it's not wholesale. It's not like, it is a route to market, but it's like, unless you really want to drive your direct trade sales, it's probably not the right fit for you. And we will tell you that. And we've had honest conversations before with people. We're very transparent about it, and we can't have just gone, we don't think it's the right fit for you, or maybe in a year come back, let's see if it's going to work. But yeah, we never onboard anyone we don't think is going to stick around on Sellar for the long term. And we're very like honest with you in how we can work with you to get yourself set up, build it, and sort of get good habits out of your customers as well. Because getting buyers using Sellar is a whole nother thing.
Yeah, I suppose there is an educational aspect from that side, right? Where you probably got a lot who are more pen and pencil or send an email or 100%. Spreadsheet. So what about, give us some hints and tips there then, like for, educating and bringing clients on board?
Yeah, so it really is like communication, and it's probably repeating yourself till you're blue in the face about like, here's our Sellar store, you can go on here, and like, let me sort of break it down on like what Sellar offers. So I thought, like, we don't just give breweries reach, we give breweries tools to use. So we've got Sellar lists, and that's what breweries pay the subscription for, right? So that's their online portal, that's their online shop, their Etsy store, if you will. And it's got live stock. So anyone can go in and see, okay, that's in stock, that's out of stock. Oh, they've got this. Oh, they've got that. Great, fantastic. They don't have to trawl through however many emails. Or also, you've made all these great craft beer products with great branding. Shoving it in an Excel spreadsheet just seems to really do it a disservice to me anyway. And then, so that sort of, like your bulk discounts or all that, and being able to share that with one link to your entire audience, and you can like make it really bespoke on whether it's like a big price list for everyone or if it's a price list just for that customer. So you can email them and be like, hey, thanks for ordering through email. Here's a link for next time. Because ultimately that's the sort of thing that ends up paying for it would like save time. As well as like, I've also found like a lot of breweries find that as soon as they go on Sellar and have that like online 24/7 availability, they get previous customers come back or existing customers order more often just because it's easier and it's there, and they don't have to send an email to find out what you have, or they send an email with an order and then a day later you go back going, oh, sorry, we're sold out of that. And then a day later they're like, there, can we have this? And it's like, it's just cutting all that out and you're just getting orders. So it's saving time and making things easier on both sides. And then we've got like, and in that list, you've got like pre-orders and analytics and all that. And then like a year after that, they added Sellar shipping, where through like 250 plus suppliers, we can get cheaper courier rates than breweries can get by themselves. So that's a nice little add-on that can like help save you money. And then we've got Sellar Market, which is like probably like the big release this time last year, right? So that's where all the breweries on Sellar, somebody can come in and they're all in one place. You can see everyone on Sellar. You can see every beer on Sellar. You can use the search engine to filter and find exactly what you're looking for. And I think Sellar Market is where you like, that's where breweries can go their reach. And I think so you've got the communication of your storefront, and then you can grow your reach on the Sellar Market. And I think standing out there, the best thing is imagery. It's always imagery. Have good photos, have eye-catching branding, send a good message. Like it's difficult because we also work to like level the playing field, so that Sellar Market hasn't got an algorithm where it's making you price cheaper, or we're trying to like, a rising tide sort of lifts all ships, right? So the idea of Sellar is like, it's better for the craft indie breweries because it's not your macro brands, it's not your macro wholesalers, right? So we're trying to level that playing field. And I think, yeah, standing out in there, it comes down to brand.
That's always nice to know. I do.
There you go. Like, from my opinion, anyway. Yeah.
I think there'd be a lot of people out there who agree. If I want to pick up like standing out in marketplace in a little bit more detail shortly, but if we take one step back and go, so the brewery has found that they are a good fit for Sellar, or we can say another distribution platform or wholesalers. You know, we can make that bucket. What can a brewery do to be like the best possible partner for? If we use Sellar in this case, right? What can they provide you with? What can they do to put themselves in the best position possible to make the best use of the platform?
I think work with us. Like, so I do these like Sellar Market spotlights now. So they're still pretty new. They only started going from like end of last year. But we've got like a calendar of marketing campaigns where they submit products and imagery, and then I promote them on the social media and the mailers and things like that. And I think more breweries taking part in those will just get everyone's products and like people being able to order them easily online in front of so many more people. And it is social media, so you're probably looking at like top level awareness. But when they come to do that Google search, when they want to make an order, or they go to your website and they see that Sellar button, they'll know it even without realizing. And also, communicating to their customers on how Sellar can benefit them and why they should place like order from you on Sellar. That is like the most valuable thing we could ask for.
Just communicating that value makes a lot of sense, because it's the education aspect, right?
100%.
It leads into the other idea of, you're saying standing out on the marketplace is about the identity. It's about the visual aspect because it's got a hook and grow. But there's got to be that reputational aspect beforehand, that someone must have at least heard of you to give you the time of day, right?
Yeah. So I think you can use Sellar in your prospecting. So I think you've still got to, pound the pavements, hand out samples, but you can back that up with like a flyer or a business card or something that's got a QR code for Sellar on it. And then that makes it super easy that, oh, that rep came in. Oh, I've tried their sample. Oh, I've got a QR code. And we're now working we provide posters that you can add your own QR codes to for beer festivals and things. And we're also popping up at beer festivals and doing our own trade events. So we can work together on those as well.
Nice. So what about, we talked about the things that they should do. What are the big things that maybe breweries shouldn't do or brands shouldn't do when working with partners such as Sellar? What are the no-nos?
Yeah, I think the only thing would be thinking, oh, the profile's up and running, tick, job done.
That's it.
I think that's the biggest, that's the only massive pitfall I can think of. It's just yes, it's there, but the prospecting and the customer service as well to so let's say you get a new customer through Sellar Market, provide them the best customer service ever. Send them some more samples or something, because the more you get out of them in the long term, the more valuable that connection is, because we don't get in the way of your customer relationship. You've got all their info. They're yours now. We've brought them to you and they're warm and ready to go. So I think, just go above and beyond to make that into a long-term relationship, because it's so much everyone, I say everyone knows, I forget, they might not know, but it's 7 times easier to get an existing customer to buy more than to get a new customer. So if you get a new customer, treat them like the VIP that they are.
Yeah, service is everything, right?
Yeah.
You want to keep them coming back. You want to have that good reputation, because then good word spreads as well. So if they are talking to others, they can direct them back to you and to the marketplace.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about maybe some trends that you've seen developing in the market that breweries need to be aware of in 2025. Are there any things that you're spotting, that you're going, okay, this is happening now?
I'm do I just say all the usual things? Hazy beers, sessionable beers, Lord no. To be honest, I actually get more excited when I spot breweries and other drinks producers taking cues from outside of the industry. So non-beer partnerships, or doing pop-up local events with a new product launch, or something a bit more experiential, a bit more stand out. Because I feel maybe I'm just jaded now, maybe I've but I feel in the last decade in craft beer, I feel yes, tastes have shifted, but in the last 4 or 5 years, I don't think there's a new trend, apart from nitro dark beers, but that's really grabbed people. And it's I feel the way to keep the excitement and the buzz going around craft beer is to take some cues from outside our industry. I think soft drinks are doing it quite well. I think kombucha companies are doing it quite well. Yeah, I don't know if that's a rock solid answer, but
no, I think it echoes the sentiment of other guests that I've had on the show before, where it turns the liquid into an experience, right?
Yes.
And the idea is whilst it's hard to hear, the idea of just having a good beer these days is not really enough. It's what you do around the peripherals and how you kind of really deliver that. Which
people are going to remember a brand experience better than they're going to remember a great looking can design or a social media post. People's attention spans are just gone.
It's true. We're dealing with goldfish here these days, people.
8
seconds someone's got the memory for now. It's mad.
Yeah.
So obviously we talked about how Sellar kind of streamlines the sales process, which makes a lot of sense, to some consumers and trade members. But what about building a brand or boosting a brand? Does Sellar contribute in any way to that and increasing the brand awareness of breweries?
So I think it would go back to Sellar Market and getting involved with our campaigns, and also if you post stuff that's within our brand guidelines and tag us in it, it's so easy for me to just click a button and share that.
So it's just about making it easy for you guys to put out there as well, I suppose, right? Because everyone's super busy.
Yeah.
That's going to be
I'm one
everyone
person
who's listening.
Trying really hard.
But I get it. Like, everyone's in the same position. Everyone's got limited time. You know, they're trying to get as much reach and, you know, trying to get good stuff out there. But it's got to be, well, like we said earlier on, like, you know, provide you with that information so you can do the release posts and the promotion. Because I suppose it's more of a relationship in that way, isn't it? The more brewery help Sellar, the more Sellar can help the brewery, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really symbiotic.
And so, are there any really successful like strategies or indeed breweries that you could draw people's attention to who you think they've really leveraged the platform well? It's that really good relationship between the two.
I actually want to shout out Steep Soda that I did a podcast with last week. So not a brewery, but they were one of like the first suppliers on Sellar, and they've always just given loads of feedback and like on how we can make the app better as well, because like we need that. Like we always want that. Like we want the good, bad, and the ugly. As much as we'd love to get a compliment as well, give us the stuff we can make better. And I think actually like Elusive Brewing have been really good at that as well. Like they came on last year and it just took off for them, just like immediately. And yeah, they've been, you know, they've jumped on like our beta testing things and given us testimonials and all sorts. And yeah, it's kind of, yeah, I think those are the best examples I can think of off the top of my head.
No, I think that's cool. I love the Elusive stuff as well. And to me, there's something in the back of my mind going, actually having that kind of cool 8-bit niche kind of
nobody else can do that now.
Right, you know, they've claimed it. That's what they've got. And I wonder if there's any kind of generational side of things where you've got the predominant trade buyers who are potentially, they feel a bit nostalgic when they see some of that stuff, so they want to recapture the youth that they lost in the can format. That's
all the decade of beer seeped in.
Why not? Do you get a lot of data about your trade buyers, and does that get shared with your suppliers in terms of like average demographics and what they look and trend?
So we've actually only just introduced our analytics. I know, like, we should have done a lot earlier, but we actually just introduced analytics, but we had to sort of get it to a point that it's digestible for every brewery. But it's also like we're still building what people want, and we haven't always captured the full customer profile. So we're now like working on that side of things. It's like up until like June last year, everything at Sellar was focused towards building it for the supplier, and we've kind of now like gone on a focus to make it better for buyers while also still making it better for suppliers. So we've sort of expanded our strategy because we realized to make it the best it can be for suppliers, we need to make it the best it can be for buyers as well. And it's taken like time for the company to grow and for us to have more people to be able to do that. But each brewery's customer list is their own, so we don't really like share details between breweries.
But that's still really powerful, can be really great analytics, because they're like, oh, okay, we've got big buyer base in this place, or the average
they can see like who their biggest customers are, or who the new customers they've got through Sellar Market. They can see who those are. I think that's the juiciest bit of analytics, because if I still worked in a brewery, I'd be looking at those to be like, okay, they've come to us through Sellar Market, how do we make them loyal long-term customers? And that they'd be the ones that I would target.
So that's the point. Obviously, you said you did your stint as marketing for a brewery before you were part of Sellar. If you were to be a client of Sellar, like, what would your approach be? What would you be doubling down on that people could benefit from?
I think communicating to your existing customers that they can use, like your existing local customers. I think the biggest mistake I made when I worked at a brewery was I kind of just used Sellar as a tool for those people we couldn't deliver to. When actually we could have been getting more out of it if we'd been driving our existing customers to also just use it day to day. And yeah, if I could go back in time, that's what I would do.
Nice. And the education aspect of those existing customers, because we talked about, you know, the email, the spreadsheet. Do you provide any techniques or tactics for the suppliers to help with that conversion at all?
What from?
Well, so just like, how do you get them on board, basically?
Oh, basically, yeah. So we sort of, the storefront's there, and you upload your products, or you send us the spreadsheet, and we upload your products for you. One or the other. Hopefully, in the future, there will be a faster way to do it. But at the minute, it's quite manual, and so it's like setting up an online shop, right? You put your product name in, your description, your pictures, you sync it up to your inventory, whether you're using Brew or whatever, and then you're pretty much ready to go.
Nice. Okay, so if we kind of recap like the flow and how this all works together, of course we've got a brewery kind of going, yeah, I want to expand my reach, and they're going to do a bit of research, and they're going to be like, right, what distribution platform or who do I need to work with in order to achieve this, and are they kind of aligned with our goals and what we want to do? That's what you're talking about,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Instead of wholesale versus like those kind of relationships with trade. But once you've got that initial partnership, it's then about, well, it is the partnership where you've got to supply that platform with the good information so they can make you look good, but equally you leverage it because you're drawing people towards the platform. And
then, to be honest, they're in full control of their storefronts. They can pick their own imagery, they can upload their own products. Like it's theirs to personalize and use as they wish. Like they can set their own price tiers, they can have different like delivery areas of whether it's direct or courier. Like there's a lot of different options that let breweries sort of tailor it to themselves. So we kind of take a bit of a backseat and like we'll recommend stuff and we'll tell you what's possible, but ultimately the breweries can choose how to do it.
Okay, so yeah, storefront they've got good control over, but then I suppose if they really want to raise awareness of them being on the platform, you talked about kind of the promotional campaigns and the podcast bits and bobs and the newsletter. So supplying that extra level of info is really going to benefit them to get more eyes on what they're doing, but they have to do the same. They've got to draw people in. And I suppose the final thing is remembering that it is just that connector. Service and quality and building relationships out the other side is so very, very important.
So important. Like, this industry is built on relationships, and we've facilitated it, but we're not going to get in the way.
Fair enough. So is it easier with a platform like Sellar for a small indie brewery to compete with the bigger ones because of how you say there's no kind of algorithm or favoritism in there?
Yeah, I would say so, because if you, like, let's say you're a really small brewery, right? One-man band, get your first, 5 local trade customers, your first 5 to 10 local trade customers. They're ordering off you, like, you're producing beer consistently, they're consistently ordering off you, and then you can get in, the early stage program of Sellar, right? And then you can immediately have your online storefront. And then those 5 to 10 customers you've now just got ordering without you having to really do anything. They can just click on the app, done, 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 done. You process the order, you deliver it to them, sorted. But then also you can be on Sellar Market and other people can find you. And when you're prospecting, you can share your Sellar QR codes, your links, and they can easily just, if they're already a Sellar user as well, they can just add you to their list, order, done.
Nice.
So that's how I would sum it up for the small. And on Sellar Market, so it works in there's not really on the front page, there's people delivering direct to you, latest releases. So any new product added in the last 2 weeks is in there. Then there's like a spotlight of nitro dark beers or beers brewed for IWCBD. And then there's like pre-orders. So any beers that are available on pre-order are in there. And then there's a map. So some people go and explore, you know, we've got St. Patrick's Day coming up, we've had St. David's Day, people can go on the map and see, oh, Welsh breweries on Sellar. And I think also it's that ease that now there are some buyers doing the majority of their ordering through Sellar, just being on the platform, you're more accessible to them. And they won't forget you exist because they're in their supplier. You're in their supplier list. They log in and they see you there. So that's how I would say a smaller brewery can use Sellar in their business.
I love that, and I didn't think about it that way. That it becomes another channel to raise awareness. But, you know, not only are you on the socials or you're doing your emails and stuff, but like the people who spend a lot of time on a platform, then you've got to be there as well.
Audience there, so
yeah. And also, you were saying about the value of the map versus what's trending versus the free delivery as well. Breweries, like if I were in that position, I'd be looking at that, and that would inform my strategy moving forward. Going, oh yeah, actually, if we're not doing something that's trending, do we want to have that conversation about it? Because how much fun is it going to be around, or where are the pockets, or what events?
I've put together like a rough campaign calendar for 2025. So any brewery at any point can go, okay, in April the Sellar campaign is going to be this. Do we want to do something to be in that? Like, I'd be really interested to know if any breweries are actually impacted by this calendar I've made. But I've done it so that it's ahead of time, so that if breweries want to plan ahead, they can. It's a resource to be used should they want to.
And do they only get that if they're part of the Sellar platform? It's not available for public use, I assume.
It's on our website, but but the beers are only spotlighted on Sellar, so I don't know if it'd be useful otherwise. But
wider campaign idea generation.
You want to pinch some ideas? It's there.
More heads, more brains are better. So, all right, this has been really cool, Sarah. I really appreciate you taking the time to kind of break down what a platform like Sellar can do, and importantly, I think it's really valuable for breweries to understand the whole experience around it, instead of like just the benefits of the platforms. Like, how do you make the most of it, and how can you double down on it? The question that I've started asking a lot of my guests as we wrap things up is, if you were stuck in a lift with a brewer and you needed to impart with them one piece of advice, you know, one thing that you believe would help their brewery to kind of grow, and you can't just say get on Sellar because that's just cheating. Like, what would you share with them?
Please find a good local freelance photographer and just take some photos. Just have a bank of imagery for your social media, for your mailers, for your shop, for your online distribution profile. But just like, because when I worked at Moonawake, probably when there was like 4 core beers we started with, right? And I got a freelance photographer in. He spent a whole day just taking photos of the brewery, photos of the team, photos of the head brewer doing stuff in the brewery, photos of those 4 beers. And I used that photo library like probably to its absolute like wit's end. But I got years of use out of that. And some of the pictures are still used now because they're timeless. And it's just like, yes, it was a spend of like 450 quid, but we could use those photos for everything for years. And like, it helped me get press coverage for the brewery as well, because we had, have an online link on your website for photos, logos, and like a brief description of your brewery. Just have like a Google Drive link that's accessible.
That kind of thing.
So if press or somebody like me want to do something, they can just go onto your website and find it. And as Melissa Cole says, send her press releases. That will help your business too.
a massive one, right? Just reaching out and making people aware of what's going on and making the right people aware.
And having things easy to find, like make those inbound leads like so easy to serve themselves.
Mm-hmm. Well, not just one pointer. Like we got a list of pointers.
Oh, sorry. I'm nothing if not thorough.
Dude, and very helpful. And if people are interested in more photography hints and tips, you can go back into the archives of Branding for Breweries and listen to my chat with Chris Colson, a well-known brewery photographer. He drops loads of hints and tips. Anyway, that's enough of that shameless plug there for a previous episode. Sarah, all that's left for me to do is thank you so much for taking the time out to chat with me today. Where can people get in touch with you? Where can people find out more about Sellar and ultimately keep up to date with what's going on?
Yeah, so Sellar.io is main port of call. There you can find information for buyers, information for suppliers, and information on our new product coming out, Sellar Credit, as well. It's going to be live to everyone by the end of March. And we're starting to do our own Sellar trade nights, and they're on the website too. So you want to find out more about them, see if we're popping up in a city near you, do that. And yeah, we're on all the socials and stuff. Just search it.
We're all over the place. Just
right.
Sarah, once again, bud, thank you so much. Everyone else, thank you so much for listening. I've been Tim the Brand Weaver. This has been Branding for Breweries, and you are all bloomin' awesome. Rock on, people.